I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I got to be here for this.
Oh my god.
You had no idea it was an anime.
I had zero idea. Other than the title and I knew it was coming out.
Oh my god.
I had no idea. This just shows like how disconnected I am from like.
You just assumed it was going to be another part.
Yeah, of course. Like,
or another.
Is that crazy? Is that a crazy assumption? Like, to assume Lord of the Rings, it's going to be like Lord of the Rings.
It's going to be like Lord of the Rings. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Inside Tabletop. I'm here with Chris from Loads of Games and Hobbies, and we are having a real-time reaction to him having just watched the trailer for Lord of the Rings.
I've just been ambushed.
He's having all the stages of grief right now in like real time. This is incredible.
I have so many feelings.
Well, this is why I wanted to have you on, because you did a video about licensing stuff recently that I really enjoyed, actually. You talking about why and how people do some licensing stuff for Lord of the Rings. And that was kind of like how Games Workshop does this stuff. That's why I wanted to have you on, because I watched that and I was like, I don't think he knows what this movie is going to be, because how are they going to make miniatures for an anime? And I get that you can just, because you touched on some really interesting points about licensed product, about how they had to do actor lookalikes for
right? Exactly right.
Like originally when they did all of the Hobbit and they did all of the Lord of the Rings, they were doing sittings and they were doing like all of the character designs based on the characters of the actors in the film. And that with New Line, obviously that was a big thing, and they own the Tolkien license. They can do stuff inside this period of Middle Earth. So not Silmarillion, that belongs to Amazon. This belongs to Games Workshop. They've obviously already been previewing the fact they are doing a new edition of the Middle Earth strategy battle game.
Yep.
And this movie is coming out at Christmas, Rise of the Rohirrim. There is not a lot of daylight in between the idea that we could put two and two together. These might be based on each other.
I still feel like I'm being pranked right now.
You're not being pranked. It's that's fucking anime.
That's
wild. Let's go.
That's wild. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So how does that translate? And also, it's set 200 years before the War of the Ring.
Yeah.
We got Brian Cox done with Succession as like the big bad King of Rohan. We've got I can't remember who. I think it's Kit Harington playing Wolf. And you said they previewed a miniature already?
They previewed a Wolf miniature. Yep. Yeah.
So hang on. I'm going to look Wolf, Middle Earth, because now you've seen what the character design looks like. Let's have a look at Wolf. Here he is. Yeah. Oh, and he's based on the anime. How did you not know? There's literally a picture of the anime in the background of the picture of the of the miniature. Yes. Sorry. It's in the thumbnail.
Okay.
When I pulled it up, they didn't do it on the site. Maybe it was in the video. But yeah, there it is. They have done the Wolf miniature, and it's based on the anime.
I just thought his face looked kind of weird or whatever. I didn't know. I didn't realize that, like he's an animated guy.
Yeah, I'm so excited. This is a shock to you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy right now. So what? And this is I wanted to get your retailer's perspective on this, because we have now. This has been a minute since we've been through this. You and I both worked for Workshop the last time that we went through this, which was the Hobbit movie releases. And I like to just forget about the Hobbit movie releases, because I didn't love the Hobbit. That could have been one movie. That didn't need to be 3 movies. Historically, it was a giant mess of production.
Maybe 2 movies. Yeah, definitely not 3 movies.
It was a giant mess. The whole Hobbit thing was a giant mess. Obviously, expectations versus reality. I think it did a great job with Middle Earth SPG. I think the game was never better. They rewrote the rules. That second edition of Middle Earth SPG was fantastic. Yeah. The miniatures were incredible. I think the product offer from Workshop was incredible for that. The Goblin Town scenery was super cool. The Lake Town scenery they came out with later on was incredible. The small
the Lake Town terrain is awesome.
Was incredible. So, so like it from I think you should knocked it out of the park with that game. But that means we're on the cusp of another one of these, and them doing a new edition of the game based on this anime property. So I want to get your retailer perspective on like, what's that going to mean for you? Are you going to bring it in? Are they going to go full court press? Because if it's getting a theatrical release, it's going to get some buzz. I don't know how it being an anime is going to land as far as its success goes, because this is very different. Like when The Hobbit got announced, people were like, yes, back to Middle Earth. You know what I mean? Like those first 3 movies were a cultural phenomenon the way Harry Potter was.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
right? They were everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and they're now 25 years old.
And they couldn't mimic that again with The Hobbit. Like they were trying to clearly to get that feeling back. And I think Games Workshop ultimately experienced that as well. They had such a huge hit with the game the first time it came out that it was like literally company changing.
Yep.
Like it gave them all this extra money to reinvest into their company. It built the modern Games Workshop in a lot of ways.
100%.
And then when Hobbit came around, they believe like just the same thing that New Line did. Like, oh yeah, this could be just as big as Lord of the Rings, and it wasn't. Like, obviously, it was. You can never recapture that first feeling, right? So it did okay in the stores. I remember the releases. Like, it was all right. Lord of the Rings, after the first 3 movies came out, always struggled after that point because it was always the second fantasy game in the shop.
Sure.
And it always, I think, suffered from that. Ultimately, I think that was a little bit of a bias that a lot of like people running the shops had. It might not have been great. But it'll be interesting to see, because like I feel like with the Battle for Osgiliath coming out, what was it, like last year or 2 years ago when they reboxed that?
Beautiful box.
That was a reaction to Rings of Power. Like they were like, oh, this is coming out. Obviously, we can't make anything for this, but there's going to be some heightened excitement about Lord of the Rings again, so we should probably try and capture some of that. And so they made some new plastic minis, like characters mostly, and some bips and bobs. And that did pretty well. We had a little bit of excitement there for a bit. I don't know how much they're really going to invest into this new project, right? Like, do they... Because it always seems to me like Games Workshop has a long memory as a company of things that went well, but also things that didn't, right? And the new Games Workshop that's like very safe and careful and conservative in a lot of ways about putting things out.
And intentional.
Intentional
like
is a good word.
They're very intentional. They don't swing.
Yeah.
They don't swing for the fences. They just swing for things that they've planned to swing for. Basically, they don't do things out of pocket.
How likely are we to see like a brand new resculpted Riders of Rohan big box with some other bad guy whatever characters in there versus just another repackaging with some new heroes, right? Like that's kind of where I don't really know the answer to that.
I think whatever's featured in the film prominently will get a model kit.
Yeah.
And a resculpt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no cost in making miniatures for them anymore.
Yeah.
Like think about how easy it is for them to make plastic kits.
I think about like the things they make in plastic kits and you're like,
why? Yeah,
really? Like, really? That's a plastic kit now? Okay.
That's what I mean. Like, I think if they're going to do it, they're going to do everything you can see that's famous in the movie. That'll include the riders, whatever the bad guy orcs are, whatever the bad guy characters are. They will do absolutely every merchandisable thing that appears in the film.
So do you sculpt an anime rider, or is it like how does that work?
I have no idea what it's going to look like.
How?
We've seen Wolf.
Okay. Yeah.
And obviously it is more like the miniature is more Warhammery than historical.
Yes.
And that has been a differentiating,
that
is a differentiating line between the old miniatures and the new miniatures. The Perrys, having sculpted a lot of the old original line, they look like historicals and they're scaled like historicals, right? They're not as heroic. And they're scaled like the actors. They had to have fidelity to the actors. They look far less Warhammery heroic. This Wolf miniature, because it's not based on a human being. Yep. It looks more Warhammery and heroic than previous editions have looked.
So that's interesting. So maybe we'll see that carried across the line.
Well, there's that. And then I think whatever they do here is probably going to set a template for whatever they end up doing for when Secret Level comes out on Amazon. Because think about it, Secret Level is going to come out. They're going to make something for Secret Level. That's a Space Marine story. There's going to be Space Marines in it. I think what we're seeing is the beginning of something, and we're used to it with Lord of the Rings, right? But it might become more frequent, where things are kind of standalone and tied together. Because it doesn't take a lot of work to do a really cool box set based on Rise of the Rohirrim, and then have that be dovetailed back into products later on. Like, if you take Rise of the Rohirrim and then you have, the later releases be books that just incorporate the current model range, or even just get rid of it and start over, because they might do that too. You've got a new setup basically on a popular IP that can go forward into the future with releases on like a Warhammer The Old World schedule, right? And it can be that amount of stuff. It can all be IP based. Nothing stops this rise. I mean, Brian Cox is always, now that he's on Succession, he'll come, unless he dies in the movie, they'll have him come back a million times. I love Brian Cox. He'll do anything for $1. It's incredible. His commercial work he's doing since Succession, you're
Oh
like,
my God.
don't you have Succession money? He's like, I don't care. I like money.
But, more.
That's
more
right.
money.
More money. Brian Cox is who I want to be when I grow up. It's incredible. And I think what we're going to see probably is whatever this looks like will set a template for the media stuff going forward, because media is not going to stop. Secret Levels is the introduction on Amazon of a Space Marine property, right? So of a Games Workshop property. We already knew that deal was happening. Yeah. This is, Love, Death, and Robots, people coming through and making
we're only scratching the surface, I think, of what's probably coming there. Yeah, the branded products. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever is coming in to coincide, it'll probably come out around the time that the marketing really picks up for that movie. Because all we got right now is one trailer.
We said Christmas, right?
It's like Christmas,
this year?
yeah.
This year?
The trailer, yeah.
So yeah, Games Workshop doesn't have much time to start showing.
Oh, I'm sure it's done. The
miniatures done. Like you're right.
Like, it's all done.
They'd be abiding.
This has been done a year for.
They'd be abiding by timelines probably set on them by New Line more than their own. Yeah.
This has been done in the background. Like if they're like, one, they've hinted what's coming. Two, they've shown a miniature directly tied to the trailer, right? Raz the Rohirrim. So we know there's a tie-in there somehow. They're not just making a wolf miniature. Like
just a random wolf.
Who's
miniature?
that? I don't know who that is. I don't know who in the Lord of the Rings book. We're talking right about that guy. Who knows? I'll get out my David Day illustrated encyclopedia of Middle Earth is right down there. We'll look him up and see if he's in there. I don't think he is. I'll ask Shane. I'll ask Shane Smith. Shane will know if Wolf's a real character. Shane, shout out in the comments if he's a real character or not. Shane knows more about Lord of the Rings than I think anyone I know, except maybe that aircraft mechanic that's on Instagram. So yeah, that's like a real possibility, is that whatever this looks like going forward is going to be a template. But it's going to be real interesting because it's an anime, man. It's how it lands. Who knows? I have no idea what the audience for this is going to be.
I'm of the mindset, especially for like the miniature game. We'll talk about that for a second. Like any kind of like press is good press for that. Like I think like it's going to be a good shot in the arm for Middle Earth Tried Battle game. Like
sure,
no matter what happens.
No matter what happens, it can be not like it's nothing but more exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like those Hobbit movies are like 10 years old, so like something's gonna have to come out of it, right?
Anytime this sort of stuff happens, like people just look at it again. I remember when Rings of Power came out, Jay and I were like, I really want to do a Lord of the Rings army, and we both bought like a whole bunch of models. It was like, so obviously it works, right? Like it's super effective, right? Yeah.
My question is, did your feeling of excitement change at all, seeing that it was not a live action film, that it was animated?
I have to,
because you're in shock a little bit.
Yeah, like I was really confused, like the choice for sure. Yeah.
It's way less money.
Yeah, I guess
actors,
that's it, right?
Like it's way less of an investment.
I can understand just how hard and expensive it is. Like look at how much money Amazon's spending. It's insane.
It's $1 billion.
It's insane, right?
That's $1 billion. Like that's the GDP of some countries. Like
probably shouldn't have spent that much money.
Some tiny little country, some Guam kind of country.
That's
out there
crazy.
Is like, oh my god,
just to make a TV series, right?
Yeah,
like,
on a maybe.
Yeah,
like not even a TV series that sells tickets in theater.
Doesn't.
It's just subscriptions.
It keeps people on Prime. That's all. That's literally all it does. They're paying $1 billion to keep people on Prime.
To retain people they already have, and maybe gain some new ones. The net
craziness. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm a little confused. I guess I'm still in that state. My first reaction, like seeing the trailer, it looks cool, but it didn't look like Lord of the Rings. And obviously an anime is going to have its own aesthetic to it, right? So I'm curious how the movie is going to feel Lord of the Ringsy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they can do that with the music and the voice acting and the story. Yeah. But right now with just the trailer,
this is a real-time
This looks
test.
like a cool fantasy anime.
This is a real-time test of you learning about Age of Sigmar and Warhammer: The Old World going away. This is like one of those things where you're like in real time going through, I'm learning new information.
Okay.
It's different from what I was used to. I've been told it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
I'm going to let go of the past for a second.
Well, let's see
this
how
is
I
that
feel.
In real time.
I feel like I might need a few days to process this fully.
Has Jay seen it? Jay must have
I
seen it.
don't think so.
Oh my God.
He's even more of an old man than I am.
Can you film?
If I haven't seen the trailer, there's no way
the next time you sit down, here's what we're going to do. So the next time you sit down with Jay, I want you to show him the trailer and then record what happens.
The
do the like the cold open of your thing being like, hey, did you see the trailer for Rise of the Rohirrim? And then just show him on your phone and record it what's happening. And I just want to see the whole thing happen in real time.
The funny thing is he'll have the opposite reaction be he'll just start to smile as it goes on because the man loves anime.
I know, he loves anime. It's gonna be so great. I can't wait to see what happens. This is the greatest shocking cold open for him ever. Well, I don't know what it means for Games Workshop. Obviously, the last 2 times this has happened, like you said, it's nothing but net benefit. It's somebody else doing marketing for them. So there's going to be an element of that.
Yeah.
What I'm really curious about is how all of this in the aggregate starts to affect them, right? Do they do merchandise for secret levels? What does this look like for this? How does this keep going forward? Because like, I don't know why they don't leverage the interconnectivity between these things more. It's just overt with the Lord of the Rings property, with the Middle-earth property, right?
Yeah.
We haven't really seen it happen yet with Warhammer TV. Like, I want to see more Warhammer TV characters become a thing, right? We've seen it happen with the novels, right?
Yeah, Callus and Toll and all those characters.
Yeah, and like just the Horus Heresy. Every Horus Heresy character is a miniature, right? Yeah. Like, we kind of expect it in this one area, but we don't see it in the mainstream. Like, I don't know why they didn't make everything that was in the Pariah Nexus Warhammer Plus thing a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know why they don't make supplements for games that are just like the episodes of that show. Like, there's so much you could do there with like these little mini products that bolt onto your existing games that could be that kind of product placement. And we expect it in one regards because it's always been that way.
Right.
We don't see it anywhere else. It'd be really interesting to see going forward what this means, because they're just really starting to lean into, like, they have this attached property they're already doing it with, but like they have their own games and stuff now.
They've reached a size that like would be unfamiliar to 2000 Games Workshop.
Oh yeah,
now
they'd have no.
Where they create their own echo hype that bounces back to them. Like, they put something out, people come back to them and are looking for something related to that. And if they don't have anything to capture that, then they're just completely missing out. It's just money
on the table.
It's just money on the table, right?
Yeah,
so
money on the table.
I really hope they have stuff in the pipeline, especially for the Amazon series. Like, that's just going to be bonkers. Like,
and it's so good for you as a retailer because it sells itself.
Yeah.
Like, it literally sells itself.
Like, obviously, you get the tangential stuff where, like, you know, I remember this, like, Dawn of War, the first Dawn of War game, like, did a lot. Like, people played because it was like game of the year.
Yeah.
People were like coming in and be like, you know, and of course, like, you get your Dawn of War and it's like a Games Workshop thing on the back, and I think it came with a little slip that had like, oh, go get a free Space Marine. Get a free Space Marine, and you're like, a lot of people took that up, man. Like, it was pretty wild, right? Like, it was cool. So stuff like that, right?
Oh, EA.
Yeah.
What was it? Relic Entertainment.
Relic
Entertainment.
Yeah,
it got bought by EA eventually.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
A different time.
Yeah, there's just so many funnels in now to the hobby. It's kind of a good time for it, obviously. Like,
well, they're starting the marketing machine now, so we'll see what it looks like by the time Christmas comes out. But Dollars to Donuts, new starter set, all based on those characters.
You're putting money there, right?
I'll put my money on. I mean, why wouldn't they?
I don't know.
If this first character they're previewing is already tied to this trailer, there's no way this isn't just a Rise of the Rohirrim box set. Like, it would have to be.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see that. New sculpts of any Lord of the Rings stuff. They do such a good job with the new stuff. It would be really cool if they did a new plastic box set. I think that would really give a new way into the game for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But part of me is still just like, are they just going to rebox or repack again or whatever? You know, like, I doubt
it. I doubt it because for the same reasons they had to do the fidelity before, they probably have to do the fidelity for this one too.
Right. So like, if they're gonna brand the box,
Rise of Rohirrim, it's all gotta look like
the same.
No.
Yeah, you're right. That's
it's all because it can't look like Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. It has to look like whatever this new anime Lord of the Rings is. So there's no, like, literally for like contractual reasons, there'll have to be a fidelity between the two sides.
Interesting. No, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my bet. Anyway. This was an interesting development, and also my favorite way to open one of these episodes. Chris in complete disbelief.
We were going to do this video, and he's just like, "Have you seen the trailer?" I was like, "Huh?"
And then this just happened out of nowhere. This is my favorite way that Inside Tabletop happens. Is like we capture a moment in the studio where something interesting is going on, and then we have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for this one to come out. All right, well, there it is.
Maybe we'll see it together.
I
That'd
think
be
we
kind
should
of
go
fun.
see it. We should go see it together. That'd be
good.
awesome.
We can bring Jay too.
Bring Jay as well. Yeah. Yeah. Get Jay a babysitter and take him out for his birthday.
That'd be funny.
Christmas. Yeah, at Christmas time. All right. Well, where can people find you if they want to check out the?
Yeah, we do.
If they want to check out this later video of you showing Jay this, and watching him,
now I'm
watching him
committed or
instantly be way more excited about this than you are.
YouTube, Lords War Games and Hobbies, and then we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Lords War Games and Hobbies, if you want to get the good insights or whatever. Yeah.
Sweet. And then you can, of course, check this podcast out 3 days earlier on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Guerrilla Miniature Games. You can also get access to the Monday morning show, which is sometimes on a Wednesday. It's a live AMA. I hang out with the patrons. We do backstage recordings of lots of games that we play. And we'll have access to the Saturday skirmish, which is going to be my Saturday recording days twice a month, where you can come in and watch people playing a variety of different skirmish kitchen table size games. You get to see all those games happen early in like an unedited and format and hang out with us and stuff too and ask questions. And then these get chopped up and posted later on individually on YouTube. So yeah, thanks for watching. I am so excited to get an update on this one when it finally comes out. And thanks for giving your retailer POV on the rise of the Rohirrim.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another video like when we actually have the box in our hands.
Oh, 100%.
Obviously,
yeah. Of how excited you are about it then.
Yeah.
And like what the hype looks like.
Yeah,
I think all of these wound up being circular because we're going through the news, we're talking about things that are getting hyped, and then we get to see what the actual landscape looks like when it comes out too, right? Sure. So I think the revisiting of this, we've done it with the old world, right? We've done it with all kinds of games. I think this is like the perfect sort of format for that stuff. All right, so it is. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good one.
Take care.